Wow, it's so good to talk to Dr. Roseann. We've had her, we're thinking it was the fourth time on the show, which might put her in the lead of being on our show. And that's because she's fantastic and she's got so much to share and just good things that are going to make your life better, your kids' life better, your family life better, and then your community and out into the world, which is what we need right now. And all of the things she talks about are easy. They're things that we've talked about, all of our tools with Cour experience, a lot of the things we've shared with you. And she's writing a book, The Dysregulated Kid. So that is coming out in about 6 weeks or so. So that will be a resource for you. Get that book. Get that book. But listen to the podcast first and do your part to regulate yourself and then show up as your best self in the world.
The world is a lot right now. Are you feeling it? We all need new tools to help us walk through the chaos with grace, ease, and compassion for each other and for ourselves. In this podcast, you'll hear from parents, educators, and other experts who can bring perspective to the monumental job of parenting. It's time to level up and be warriors for our kids and our communities. This is the Warrior Parent Podcast. I'm Marci Mitchell.
And I'm Debbie DiManno. As parents, we understand that it really does take a village to raise our kids. We hope that this podcast serves to create and support that community for you. Join us as we discuss and practice our core tools, which are proven mind-body techniques that can be used by anyone to improve your life on a daily basis.
Welcome back to the Warrior Parent Podcast. So good to have you joining us again. Today, Debbie and I are actually sitting next to each other because her internet is kaput. So here we are. This is fun. We can play off each other. And we are bringing back our good friend, Dr. Roseann Capanna-Hodge. And so we're so grateful to have her back. She is a leading expert in emotional and behavioral dysregulation with 30 plus years of experience helping families move from chaos to calm. She specializes in nervous system dysregulation, the root cause of issues like ADHD, anxiety, OCD, mood disorders, and PANS and PANDAS. As the creator of Regulation First Parenting and the CALMS Dysregulation Protocol, author of the upcoming book, The Dysregulated Kid, and host of a top 1% podcast, Dysregulated Kids, Dr. Roseann provides science-backed tools to help parents support their child's brain and behavior. Featured in the New York Times, Forbes, and Parents Magazine, she empowers families to regulate first so healing can begin. And that is exactly what we all need to be doing. So welcome back, Dr. Roseann.
Well, ladies, love talking to you too. So everybody who's listening or watching, stay on because it's going to be a great conversation.
Yes.
Oh my God. I think this is our third or fourth talk with Roseann.
Yeah.
I think it's our third.
Yeah. So anyway, so we're so excited. It always feels like home, I think.
We need that jacket, like SNL, when you're on the show, when you host like 3 times. Like, because I do think you're number one for us.
I 100%.
We might need to get that jacket that you wear.
And I think we need an in-person for our next one. That's what we need.
Please.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Yes, that sounds good.
Yeah, so we're so excited, and we're super excited because she is launching her book shortly, and Marci and I are dabbling in the book thing because we just started our 4th year of the Warrior Parent Podcast, so we think we're ready, right? We're ready to write a book.
What's next?
Yes. So anyway, Roseann, tell us a little bit about. I know you're making some big changes in your life. Mm-hmm. You've had this 30 years of amazing work and helped a million families, I'm sure. So tell us a little bit about that and how you could have possibly made this big change in your life to now feel like,
you ready to write the book? Like the real book. You've written other books, let's be clear about
Yeah.
that. But
No,
like
this is a
the book.
totally different kind of book. Like, this
Yeah.
is a mission. So, I have loved providing clinical care, and I have worked with thousands of people and really always taught people how to regulate their nervous system so that they could get over their very complex layered problems, because that's who I saw. People with like who'd gone to 20 providers and had these very complex cases, and I loved it because I 100% knew if they did the basics of what I told them to do, that they would at least improve their symptoms, if not resolve them. And I've had the privilege of serving people like that over these 3 decades. But a couple years ago, I started to write my next book. And as during this time in the pandemic, I've just been so deeply concerned about the mental health of kids and parents. We have the Stress in America survey saying that 50% of parents, it's 48%, are so overwhelmed every day. We see such a spike in psychiatric medication use, psychiatric diagnoses, autism diagnoses, and people are struggling. And what's happened in the last couple of years, you hear the word dysregulation and nervous system everywhere. It's like having a moment, right?
Yeah. Yep. Right. For sure.
And
And thank God, honestly,
thank
because
God, because
otherwise everyone
matters.
was just pulling out a gun and like, well, this is
Yeah.
how I guess we deal with this, right? Instead of actually putting a name to it and
Yeah.
recognizing it's a
And
real
I think
issue.
we move from this doesn't negate clinical diagnoses like OCD and depression and everything else, ADHD. But people are not understanding. They're hearing the word nervous system. They're not understanding what to do about it. So I started to write this book, and it just like honestly poured out of me. And I said, I have to leave what I've been doing, which I loved, and I have to help people on a much larger scale. And
Yes.
so that's what I am bravely doing, because I'm out there, I'm speaking, I'm doing everything you can to get this very simple resource, the dysregulated kid, in people's hands, because everything in it is free. Everything in it is doable. It doesn't matter if you have a trauma background. It doesn't matter if you or your kid is neurodivergent, has mental health issues. It doesn't matter if you're totally neurotypical and your kid's going through a hard time or you're going through a hard time. What I did is took the 30 years of work that I did and the science and made it so ridiculously simple that there's no way that you can't learn to regulate unless you don't do it.
Yeah.
And the do's, the asks are easy. Like you want to do them. And I'm just changing that narrative around, you're so dysregulated, you have to do these big things. And I'm teaching people about micro moments of regulation.
Absolutely.
Because that's what I live by.
Yeah.
And they add up. And then when people are like, oh, I can do this for 2 minutes. Of course you can do this for 2 minutes. I don't care if you got 6 kids or a jerky boss or whatever it is. It's about how can we realistically regulate and why? Why? So of course the why is here, but in mental health, they just like to talk about like the theory and all this other stuff. This is not for that. This is a get your butt moving and let's regulate. And again, and I also made it where there's an action plan for adults to do this for themselves, and there's an action plan to help a child do this.
Yeah.
And
Well,
this could be an educator, a grandparent, a caregiver, a parent. It's I thought about everything, and it covers all ages. There's a section for new parents, right?
Yes.
So we did this with advanced readers. We had all these people read the first draft and we're like, oh, I want this. Oh, I like this. I need more of this and all this other stuff, and a variety of people and people that didn't know me.
Yeah.
So
this is telling you what they need, what will help them in their life.
Yeah. Yes. And it was funny. They really liked, I learned that about 50% of those people had no idea how to do belly breathing, diaphragmatic breathing, which is the quickest way to regulate yourself.
Yeah. These very simple, foundational tools that we should all learn. as children, as starting with infants, and if we just started there, it would just change everything.
Everything,
Everything.
everything. But
We
you
were
know
just
what? We
having a
send parents home and we're like more concerned about the stroller than
yeah
we are with any
do you have
kind
a
of
car
skill.
seat?
yeah
Yeah.
yeah
Got some
Yeah.
diapers. Yeah.
Yeah.
we have,
Diapers and a
yes
car seat are very important, people.
yes
I'm not
Yes.
saying they're not. But we
No.
focus, we give we give these people a baby and we're like, oh yeah,
Right.
you'll know how to parent. Who the heck knows how to parent?
yeah we had I wanted to share with you, we had a podcast yesterday with this gentleman from London, and he's not a PhD, but he just has, over the years, this has intrigued him, this idea of parenting. And he had met this woman who was training to be a doctor, and she was traveling to the Amazon. And she studied these children because she realized that these children weren't crying. Like, how did they not cry, right? And so, anyway, it ended up being this lifelong thing for him and for her. But this piece about dysregulation was so profound, yet not. But I think what we've done, especially being a mom my age, is like we were also worried, like, oh, what's going on with my kid? Why are they so stressed out? Why are they having anxiety? And not looking back in the mirror going, ah, like,
Yeah.
I'm crazy. Like, I'm working, 80 hours a week, and I'm trying to pay
Yeah.
the bills, and I'm going through divorce, and I'm like, and I'm wondering why my kids are freaking out, right? But that one thing, if people understood the die-off, if you will, that you are imposing on your children, right?
Yeah.
But people have not really understood that, I think, until recently. Like, oh, my child's dysregulated. Maybe I should look in the mirror and
Yeah.
see where it's coming from, right?
Well,
But
let's talk about dysregulation because they're hearing the
yes,
word and I don't know if everybody understands it. And I want
yeah,
to, because what you're talking about is a couple things. You're talking about capacity of the nervous system, but you're also talking about your child's nervous system mirroring the parent, which is called co-regulation. And these are big
yes,
things. And I don't want people to be like, what the heck are they talking about? I can't do that. No, everything I talk about, everybody can do it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to
yeah,
hear it. Like
yeah.
put your big boy girl and panties on.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and
That's
for
the point of the
everybody
book. It's gonna teach you how to do all the
gonna
things.
teach you how
And
to do it.
trust
Yeah.
Dr. Roseann when she says you're gonna be able to do it, you're gonna be able to do it. You will be able
Everybody
to
can do it. I've been
Yes.
doing it with people that were like couldn't even get out of bed.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you start small. I think what happens in our world, and I know I've talked about this, like we think like the magic wand that you have to have the thing, the big thing. That's not the way real life works.
Right.
You have to do a lot of little things. So, what is dysregulation? Really simply, it's the nervous system having difficulty switching between a calm state and a stress state. And when you become dysregulated, you can move to a stress state, which means you could show signs of under or overstimulation. We always think about only overstimulation, but you also can have under, like being unfocused, having problems listening, crazy levels of fatigue, or mild levels. And then that overstimulation is anger, irritation, maybe obsessive compulsive behaviors. And it's and you can have both, right? You don't have to have one or the other. Most people have some level of both. But when we talk about the nervous system, super basic, we have autonomic nervous system, ANS. When it's relaxed, it's in a parasympathetic. When it's stressed, it's in a sympathetic dominant state. That's fight, flight, or freeze. So what's happening in the world, we were talking about this, right, is that, I talk about the nervous system as a stress cup. So a cup doesn't have unlimited capacity. So all day, the day before, the week before, the month before, we keep adding little things in our stress cup, right? Overworking, eating crappy food, a difficult spouse, a job you hate, your child being autistic and having a hard time with everything, right? All these things sort of add up, add up, add up. And what happens is we think, okay, the nervous system can just go and go and go. And let me tell you, I've been guilty of this myself, like shortchanging sleep. I was getting up in the middle of the night at like 2 o'clock in the morning and writing this book. And that honestly happened because I was so stimulated that I couldn't turn my brain off. So a lot of this book was written between 2 and 5 a.m. And I would then go back to sleep for like an hour and then get up. It wasn't
They call
pretty.
that the God hour. It's like it's a real thing. They're saying we don't need 8 hours of sleep. You're supposed to go
Yeah,
forward, take a little
yeah,
break, and sleep some more. So
yeah.
you're
That
right on.
didn't
You're right
last
on task.
forever, Deb.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, no. So I and so we think we have to do something big like a massage or go for a 1 hour walk. These are all amazing things. I would encourage you to do it. But what we have to do is take little bits of stress out during the day to create capacity. And you say, well, why is that important, Roseann? Right? Every human being can only pay attention, learn, their body can heal from a place of regulation. That is biology. When you are dysregulated in fight, flight, or freeze, and again, you're now realizing, oh, my kid, myself, we don't have to have a big thing happen. We don't have to have a big trauma or a little trauma or something difficult happen. It could just be a lot of little things, right? You could be light sensitive. You could be, at school, the smell makes you sick, right? I'm super smell sensitive. So it works for me because it makes me an amazing chef because I can taste things. But if I get one bad smell, done, done. So I would like hold
I
my
feel
breath
that.
with poopy diapers.
Yeah.
And like when my best friend comes over with her baby, the baby's godmother. I was like, Shell, you better bring a lot of diapers because if that kid makes a poop, it's got to
Yeah.
be changed. There's no hanging
Yeah.
out in a poopy diaper in my house,
No. No.
And so we have these things that fill up our cup and we're
Yeah.
not attributing it. So like people would bring their kid to me and be like, I don't know what's going on. He lives in a nice house. He's this, he's that, and yet he's got anxiety, he's got depression. I can't understand it. And we would do these brain maps and we would see these activated brains, their nervous system. And started to really understand that we all have different capacities in our nervous system. So, neurodivergent kids, people with trauma, their nervous system is more prone to activation. Please know, I don't want to hear that you're giving up. What I want to hear is, okay, what do I do about it? And it's really taking those little bits of stress out. And that's what all my work does. Yes, I love to, I would love for everybody to buy this book, buy one for your best friend, buy one for your kid's teacher, buy one for your pastor. That's amazing. And we create a movement and a culture where everyone's like, I got to regulate first. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
give me 60 seconds. And I do
Yes,
think we can get
please.
there. Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
we can. And then
And
that's better for everybody. Yeah.
everybody
That is
because
one of the things I keep looking around and saying, the world is crazy and there's so many dysregulated people
so
in
many
positions of
dysregulated people.
power and in
Mhm.
places where they're just going crazy. And it's like,
And,
everybody
and
just
and
stop
that
for a
has
second.
opened the door for like what feels like almost like disrespect. Like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, sorry, bad behavior, no,
Yeah.
but when we respond from reactivity, right, which happens like and please know I'm not asking you to be perfectly regulated. I'm not
Right.
asking you to be the parent of the year. I'm asking you
The
to be
goal.
80% awesome, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
that gives you grace because we are so hard on ourselves. Like these
For real.
modern times are not easy, right?
Yeah.
So, we have to, when we respond from regulation with others, with our children, they can hear us. They can take action. We can feel good about it. When we respond from dysregulation, that person can only match us with dysregulation.
Hmm.
You know, I used
Yeah.
to do for like 22 years, I did neuropsych testing and I would go into a lot of court hearings for these kids. And my shtick was Columbo. And if anybody remembers Columbo, he would be like somewhat of a buffoon and he would be very pleasant and he would ask dumb questions and he
Yeah.
never reacted to things. Well,
Yeah.
I won every court case. And then it turned out everybody wanted to hire me and I was only in high conflict cases and I was like, I'm out of here. I don't want to. But
Yeah.
that point of regulation, right? We all know that when we approach our kids when we're more regulated, that maybe they don't calm down immediately. Maybe they do if you have a pattern of being that way. But if you come at your kid like, why are you yelling? They're going to yell.
Yeah.
They're going to
That's not
shut
helpful.
down maybe, but they're not going to learn. And the cycle's going to rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat.
Yeah. Hey, we just wanted to take a quick moment to tell you about something very exciting that Debbie and I and our team have been working on for literally years. And that is our Cour Tools app, which is now available at the Google Play Store and at the Apple Store. And you can sign up for it now and you will get access to all the tools we've been talking about on the podcast.
And if you're an early adopter of Cour Tools, you can get a VIP price for $49 for a lifetime. That's
Lifetime.
Right.
Buy it once and we'll keep updating it too.
Yes. So we're super excited about this. Go to Apple Store, go to Google Play, and purchase it now.
Cour Tools, COUR, capital TOOLS.
Go get it.
You know?
So then you're talking about co-regulation, which was the other piece of, right? So you define dysregulation and then co-regulation.
Yeah. So co-regulation is people borrowing our calm. And yes, it can be child to child, but it also can be coworker to coworker. It can be your yoga instructor. Like you think about a really lovely calm person, their energy kind of washes over you. When you think of a dysregulated person, you're like, oh, I got to prepare for that. Like you go into the family barbecue, right?
Sucking you dry. Yes.
Yeah. You know, there's my husband's cousin. She won't listen to this. She's much older. You know, we would get together at these events and we would be like, oh shit, nobody, don't set Faye off. Don't set her off.
Right.
And she's, you know, undiagnosed, you know, bipolar. I'm not saying, but like she had that switch and you didn't know what was going to set her off. So I never, ever talked about anything that I was doing. And I only talked about her and she never went off on me. Like I knew how to work it, but I would watch these like explosions that would happen and I would feel on edge. And I'm like, I mean, I'm, you know, and so when we approach our kids with calm, when they're distressed, they're every part of their body is their mirror neurons. There's all these things that are cueing to the body. So if you have a very upset kid, you don't have to say anything. You don't have to do anything other than be there. And this is not permissive. When I talk about parenting, I never want you to think you don't discipline your kid. You don't, teach them things. You don't allow them to experience discomfort. It's quite the opposite. What I'm saying is we have to regulate first, right? The way it works is regulate, connect, having a connection, and then we can go to correction and teaching. That's what biology is. So your child can learn in a regulated state. These kids are drowning. So it's like trying to teach swimming when somebody's drowning. That's kind of what we're doing in modern parenting, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that analogy.
Yeah. And it's the poor parents are drowning. Like everyone's drowning and they're like, something's, we slap diagnoses on kids because we're like, this isn't sticking. And yes, I definitely saw kids with lots of clinical diagnoses, but I have always been like very upfront that half of my people that came in for ADHD, more than half, didn't have ADHD, they had anxiety. And that was why they couldn't focus. So we have to start understanding the impact of this chronic stress, like the hum of the world, like what Marci said. Like we have all these political things. We have all these things happening in the world. We have unrest, right? You know, we have ICE agents. Like I just read an ICE agent, not ICE agent, National Guard. There's a big case somewhere in the Midwest where they went after an Army veteran in her front yard and tried to arrest her and took her down. And I read that and I just feel so sad right? My husband was a serviceman. These people serve our country. Like, what?
Yeah.
You know, it's just so
None
insane to
or
me, right?
yeah. Yeah.
You know,
It's a
and
hard time.
it's a hard thing. So we have this stress that's happening, and some of it is very real. But we
Yeah.
can't say, like what makes one person so inoculated to stress? And it's because they find a way to regulate, right? What is that for
Yeah.
people? And you have to have some constancy, right? So the things that I do lots of big things, right? I got my PEMF, it just went off. I am taking a bath all the time, like
Yeah.
but
Go to.
right.
Yeah.
But I actually do micro things constantly, and
Yes.
which particularly since I added Tai Chi about a year and a quarter ago,
Yeah.
yeah,
That is
and
definitely on my list of things that I'm like, I want to be doing that. That looks like just watching that talk about co-regulation. You see that, and
yeah,
you're just like, oh,
yep,
you
and
feel
I
the
do it
calm.
for like 2 to 5 minutes,
Love it.
and guess what's happened to me? I've lost a boatload of weight.
Oh, well, who
Yeah,
knew?
because
Yeah.
it's lowering my cortisol, right?
Yes.
Yes,
And
it's all about
so,
cortisol.
yeah, and I had been working, running a center and doing all this other stuff. So I'm not gonna lie, I was working over 80 hours a week.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And guess
Yeah.
what? You can't live like that. So you
Yeah.
have to take stress out of your cup
Yeah.
because the majority of it was very fun stuff. I'm not gonna lie, I have a good time. But your nervous system doesn't know the difference between
Yeah.
you getting mugged or you winning lotto. It doesn't know it. It your brain knows it, but
Yeah.
if you move into activation, it's like danger, danger, danger. And then once you go into this threat mode, your sympathetic dominant, it's going to view everything as a threat. And this is
Mhm.
why kids are snapping back and refusing and shutting down. And parents are like, well, they're being disrespectful and they're this. I'm not saying they're not being disrespectful, but they're not understanding the source. So
Right.
when your kid is regulated and you are regulated and you approach them and you regulate them and you're like, hey, let's talk about what happened because I don't like that.
Yeah.
What can we do different? And they're
Yeah.
like, yeah. Okay, well, let's find another word for when you're there. Now, you come at that kid hot and they're hot, ain't nothing going to happen. You're going to get in a
Yep.
reactivity
And
cycle.
we all know that. We all know that. We've all been there. We know it as we're going in. But so what do you recommend when you're in that? So you're in that very activated state. Like, okay, you got the
Yeah,
call from the principal and your, 13-year-old did this thing that you're like, what? So stupid.
mortified.
That is not what they would do. Yeah. So now you're embarrassed, and then they're home and then they're like already they're all worked up because they know so now, how do you handle that? What's the first thing you got to do to be
Yeah.
able to navigate this very real situation?
Yeah. Something like this happened to me with my ridiculously regulated um kid, JC.
Yeah,
He's like the definition of regulated.
that's
And I'd
nice.
love to say that I had something to do with that, but he sort of came out that way. He's very
Nice.
Hodge like, but he did absorb a lot of instruction that I had to give to his dysregulated brother. And because he was so regulated, he was like, it became part of his operating system and then he
Yeah,
would go
yeah.
around preaching it. So we had switched schools and he is a remediated dyslexic and he's a Virgo and he is a very precise kind of kid. Like, so something had happened and it was the first few weeks of school, of a brand new school, and he kind of snapped at his teacher. He had never done anything, not to
Mhm,
us or whatever. He was mortified at himself.
mhm.
So what did I do? And I was like, first of all, I'm like, I had to come in calm, right? He was full of shame. Full of shame. That was the bigger problem, be honest.
That's the bit. Yeah, that's horrible.
Right?
Yeah.
Totally. So then you're like, oh my God, we just came to school. We paid so much money for it. Like all these things come over. So I was like, pull it together. And I paused. because the power of the pause, right? We don't have to
yeah.
jump in. We don't have to rescue. We don't have to defend. You have to let that stuff go. So I
Yeah.
talk about something called the love pause, and it's pause, it's breathe, then respond. And your response could be verbal, it could be a hand, it could be, hey, I need another minute. So I think we are so fast moving, and I'm
Yes.
guilty of this. Like, I want to help people, I want to do that. So I
Yeah.
went in and I talked to the teacher, and she was like, I have not seen this side of him. And I remember saying to her, and she knew me, like we had known each other. And I was like, I know you, and he's never done something like this. And I really hope you don't hold this against him. He is very anxious. He wanted to please you. And, please put this in the parking lot for a minute. And she was like,
Mhm.
okay. And she wound up coming back to me and she was like, this was so out of character for him. And I wanted to believe you, but I had to let the time go. And,
Yeah.
I didn't come in hot. Like a lot of parents come in, like, what did you
Yeah.
do to your kid? And then
Yeah.
punish him. And, he made his own punishment. I was like, look, you have already beaten yourself up. Like, what's the lesson
So
here? Do you
true.
ever
So
do this
true.
again? And he was like,
Yeah.
no. And he never did it again. Never,
Yeah.
never, 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 never.
Yeah.
And he was anxious. He was anxious in this new environment. It was the big
Sure.
switch, and
Yeah.
and so I couldn't let my own panic, but we have to pause. I just
Yeah.
don't think we do that enough. And
Yeah.
that power of the breath, right? Like what can people do when they're dysregulated? So most people who are really dysregulated hate breath work. If you hate breath work, you're dysregulated.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's it.
Yeah.
So, and so we can do a lot of different somatic techniques, right? We could do a heart hug, we can do butterfly tapping, we could do EFT tapping, we can hum. There's lots of ways
I
to
love the humming
reset.
one.
I love humming, right?
Yeah.
Prayer, right? Prayer
Yeah.
is very, 10
Yeah.
minutes of reading a real book would be great if it were mine. But 10 minutes of reading a real book that's in your hands resets
Yes.
your nervous system.
Yes. One of the things I do with my son sometimes is we have a big cushy rocking chair, and I'll just be like, when you rock, I feel like you need to regulate yourself. And he's learned that like that is rocking. Like all
Yes.
the old people knew all along. They sat in
Yeah.
there on their chairs and they regulated, right? And
Yeah.
so, yeah,
And the more you regulate, right? The more you do these little things. And again, I do these things
yeah,
all day long, all
all
day
the
long.
time. Yeah.
The more your nervous system just starts regulating. And then
Yes.
the more you
Yeah.
dysregulate, the more your nervous system will go to dysregulation. So
Yeah.
you've got to stick with it. And I
Yeah.
tell people, like, I have people start with, whether you're doing a heart hug or diaphragmatic breathing, in for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. That's my favorite. It's a 4-7-8 breath.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do it as soon as you wake up. Do it before you go to bed, 3
Or bed.
rounds or more,
Yes.
whatever you have time for, and then set your timer for 3 times during the day. So you're
Mhm.
getting 5 times. And what's going to happen and is that when you have a stressful moment, you will find your body will automatically do these things without you even thinking, right?
Yeah.
So the love
Yeah.
pause is powerful, but it's 10 times more powerful if you're doing the respiration, the somatics, whatever you're choosing
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the calm moments, because then
Yes.
you're automatically going to do it. And
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
super powerful. And so when people say, I've done these things, Roseann, they don't work because they're trying to always use it. Again, it's like they're trying to learn how to swim when they're drowning,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
I think the other big one that's so easy that we don't really need to think about it is just to get your feet in the ground. Just find a way to ground
100%.
or find some water. For me, I just get me to the water, whatever, or go splash your face. Like
Put a little
just
water, cold or hot, in the back of the
your
neck,
neck.
resets your nervous
Yes.
system.
Yeah.
I like
And
to take the garden hose and I just shove it right in my face on shower mode. That really works.
I don't know how much the kids will love that, my
It's
friend.
100
You know what I
degrees
mean?
outside right now, so
I've not seen that one.
I've used that several times this summer.
But I always try to think about, like, what could you do that's like, for me, breathing, I can do it anywhere, and I
Yes.
can do it like
Yeah.
nobody has to know.
Yeah,
Even
if it's just that one breath,
Yeah.
that one, just slow down for a second, big one in, and
Slow
then blow
down.
it out slower so
Yeah.
that really will signal. That's the first, like it's the first step.
Yeah. And, I wind up doing, like, for those of you, EFT tapping is a way. They're not really they don't even know, but I just tap on my clavicle, right?
Yep.
Humming obviously is loud, but it's super effective, especially if you are a
vibrating
person.
your vagus nerve.
Yeah, especially if you're a person where the thought triggers the body activation, which a lot of people are that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So get your little toolkit and use it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, my whole idea, like, I have book clubs with this, like I have free book clubs where you can, you need a tribe of people. Like, when it comes to parenting,
Yes,
how can we
please.
activate the community so you're
Yes.
not doing this on an island, right?
That is so key. That's so key. Like, find your community right now, folks. This is time for community. And when you find those right people, like, it just makes all the difference in the world.
I mean, we need people. And that's the other
We
thing.
really
I
do.
don't think we fully resolved the social isolation that came during the pandemic.
You're absolutely right.
Mhm.
Absolutely right.
And our kids, they're super activated and stressed, and we don't always feel comfortable sharing that with other people.
We're swimming in cortisol. We are swimming in cortisol.
That is so true. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So let's get out of that. Let's take a breath. Whatever it takes to
and just build the capacity. So every time you take out of your stress cup, right, you're creating capacity to deal with hard things. Yeah. And so if you find yourself or you see your child struggling all the time with little things, that is because they have no capacity. Is 100%. The behavior are nervous system clues. So instead of saying, like, I've got to fix that behavior, you have to say, what is the nervous system showing me?
What's going on?
And
what's going on right now? Yeah.
And like, people will be surprised sometimes, like, how deep and how hard of a conversation I'll have with my kids or the kids that would come see me. And that was because I reset their nervous system. So they could do harder things. They could handle more pushing, discipline, these kinds of things, because they had a baseline they could go back to. You just can't live in that state. And that's why these conversations are so important. Like, if you feel like, gosh, I'm drowning, pick one darn thing, that 4-7-8 breath, a box breath. I don't care what it is. And just be like, you know what, Roseann? I'm so stressed. I'm going to set my timer. I'm going to do it every hour on the hour. God bless. Go for it. Do it.
Yeah.
And try it for a week and be like, okay, my stuff isn't gone, but it's not as bad.
Yeah. Well, and I love what you said about when you start to build it, it's getting easier. You're moving
easier.
Up. So you start now, you're going to be great. Like 1 week from now, you is like, thank you for that. 2 weeks from now, good job. Like a year from now, you're like, who was that crazy woman who was running around the house yelling at everyone or angry sweeping or whatever else? Because now I'm, I can go into my Zen mode and then bring everyone else along with me.
Totally. Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. We are going to have to say goodbye again until we meet again. Yeah. So tell everybody where they're going to be able to find your book and when it's coming out.
Well, they can find by just searching The Dysregulated Kid. It's at every retailer. They can go to their public library and ask for your public library to order it. And guess what? Your library will order it, which is so cool. How cool is that?
I love the libraries.
Right? But you can go to drroseann.com, DRROSEANN.com, and you can click there. And, I would love for people to get it. And again, get a little group of your peeps together so that you can do this together. Do a one read in your with your PTA.
What a great idea. What a great thing to work on with a group.
Yeah. And it's not an expensive book. This is my gift to the world of saying, and if you're here and you're listening, you're like, Roseann, I can't even afford $21.95. You can listen to the podcast. You can listen to this episode 3 times, So I wanted to give to the world something that was so actionable and so easy that it's like, I can get a little relief. And that will change for your life right now and your child's future and all the generations that come after that.
This is how we change the world, people. We regulate ourselves first, and then we
That's
show
right.
up with what's ours to do. And it's really that simple. It's not necessarily easy, but it is that simple.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you,
Dr. Roseann. So good to see you.
Always a pleasure.
And now for your core mental health break. This is your opportunity to take a moment to support your mental wellness, your peace of mind, your own ease and grace. Take some time every day to support your mental health. You deserve it, and it matters.
Today's journaling prompt is, what I love about myself is. So get out your journal, get out a piece of paper, use your phone, and write those words. What I love about myself is, and then start writing, folks. Don't be modest. This is just for you. This is for you to acknowledge and feel gratitude for the things that you like about yourself. Start where you can, and I encourage you to keep adding and adding. Enjoy your journaling.
Thanks for listening to the Warrior Parent Podcast, which is a production of our nonprofit, Cour Experience, who also creates and distributes Cour tools. You can find us at courexperience.org. Make sure you join us next week for another informative conversation to help you and your family show up mindfully, purposefully, and joyfully with each other and in your community.
Our Cour Tools platform consists of a number of proven tools and techniques that are designed to reduce stress, anxiety, and overwhelm in spite of what's going on in your world. We want to thank Samuel Hale, LLC, for sponsoring this podcast. Technical and marketing support comes from Inspire Your Brand. Our podcast editor is Justin Beeden. Opinions expressed by guests do not necessarily reflect those of the hosts, the producers, or the financial supporters. I'm Debbie DiManno.
And I'm Marci Mitchell. Thanks for listening. If you resonate with the idea of creating a community to help support kids and families, won't you join us by following the podcast and sharing this episode? You can even write a review. It truly does take a village, and we appreciate you.